Alrighty, guys, one of my favorite childhood memories, and it still sticks with me to this very day, is going into the theater and seeing the first animated How to Train Your Dragon film. That film was one of the first instances, and you know, alongside with a lot of Pixar movies as well, but really one of the first instances outside of Pixar where I went, wow, animation it can feel different. It feels different than the usual slapstick kind of animation, which, yeah, as a kid, it's funny and you like it, but as you get older, you start looking at these films and you're going, some of these are different, right? Like Inside Out, Up, you know, Toy Stories, and Ratatouille's and Monsters, Inc., and then How to Train Your Dragons. They're different. They're a little different because the first film, and by the way, for those of you who remember the first film, it has its dark moments. I mean, at the end of the film, spoiler alert and you know, a really old animated film, but I mean, he loses his leg. And it's a touching film between, you know, boy and his dragon, boy and the dog kind of film. But it's a touching film. So they announced they were going to make a live action remake, and in general, on the concept of live action remakes, I've been a little hit or miss with them. But this was a film where I was like, okay, let's see what you got. So they released the first trailer, and guys, when you know, it's on the YouTube channel, it's on the podcast. I loved the first trailer because it just harkened back to everything I loved about the first film. It just felt so right, and so I watched this first full-length trailer that was released right after the Super Bowl, a couple days afterwards, and I loved it. Now, look, I admit that the rational part of my brain goes, well, okay, I mean, what's the point of this? I mean, I shouldn't be giving my money to these studios so that they can just keep remaking their old stuff, right? That shouldn't be what's going on here. We should be, you know, praising them for originality and going to see those films, which, I mean, I try to as much as I can, you know, for Pixar and Disney and DreamWorks and whatnot, right? Because, I mean, those are the films that we want to see, the original films. And why are we, you know, leading into the corporate, quote-unquote, corporate greed or whatever of just having them remake their old stuff? And, you know, in fairness, some of it works and some of it doesn't, right? For example, I think the remake of Mulan from Disney was really bad. I thought the remake for Little Mermaid was good. It was fine. Beauty and the Beast, good, fine. But then you have films like Aladdin or The Jungle Book, which I really liked. But then on the flip side, you have Lion King or you have Mufasa, which I was like, not my favorite. They were okay. They were fine. So it's just been hit or miss, right? And this one's even more so because for films like Jungle Book or Aladdin, for example, yes, of course, they're very close to the source material. They have the same songs, you know, Whole New World, Bare Necessities, etc. But I love those two films, and they deviated from the source material a decent bit, right? So at the very least, you can cry yourself to sleep knowing that, hey, at least, you know, at the very least, it's not the exact same, right? Well, this How to Train Your Dragon film looks the exact same. It looks the exact same as the original. So on the one hand, the rational side of my brain, like I said, should be going, wait a second. This can't be right. We can't be doing this. We can't be allowing a film to literally shot by shot remake an animated film into live action and then just telling us to watch it because, I mean, that's crazy. On the other hand, the second, and it's always the same thing. In the first trailer, in the Super Bowl spot, in this full trailer, it's always the same thing. The second the music starts playing, I get emotional. I'm not saying I start breaking it out into tears or anything, but the second the music starts playing, something in my heart triggers. And it's like that inner child remembers sitting in that theater, watching that first movie, and it remembers the joy, you know, and the love and the heartfeltness of that first movie and all the amazing things. I think I saw that first movie maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, you know? And it just, the inner child in me remembers all of it, and it just swells. And I watched the trailer. And yeah, I even recognized that joke at the end from being not just from the movie, right, where one of the twins, the twins with the Viking helmets, you know, gets tackled by that tiny dragon, right? I don't just remember that joke from the original animated movie, which I do. I remember it from the original animated trailer that was playing before the movies. That was also in the original animated trailers. That is a shot-for-shot remake. I'm 90% sure of it. Not just from, like I said, not just from the film, from the original trailer. I remember that. And so again, it's very easy for me to be cynical about all of that as well. But I just can't help it because it's the same director, it's the same guy playing Stoic, Gerard Butler, and the kid that they got to play, Hiccup, Mason Thames, I believe, you could have tricked me into saying that he was the guy who voiced Hiccup originally. It was Jay Baruchel who originally voiced him, but you could have tricked me. I mean, the voices even sound the exact same. Toothless looks the exact same, and yet there's just something about this that speaks to me. I have admitted before I'm a hypocrite in this way, but guys, I would be lying to you if I didn't say that this was one of the most anticipated movies of the year for me, because this just, I don't know. Maybe eventually there will be a time when there just isn't anything to remake because nobody is nostalgic for anything Disney anymore, right? I mean, I don't know. They're still trying. They're going to do Tangled and they're going to do Moana. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see if those kids are old enough. Now, Moana came out like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. It's crazy to me. But anyways, whatever. Tangled 15 years ago, 10 years ago. So I don't know, maybe a little less bad. But yeah, I mean, that's crazy to me. But yeah, How to Train Your Dragon. Look, I mean, I would rather them make a fourth How to Train Your Dragon film in animation, to be quite honest with you, or I don't know, do other things in that universe. But man, I would be lying to you if, you know, when Hiccup is riding Toothless, and I remember the scenes where all the kids are riding their dragons for the first time, and you see conversations between Hiccup and Stoic, his dad, and it's all just great. We see Astrid too for the first time. The actress who's playing her, I don't know her name, but she looks great. She looks pretty much exactly like how you'd imagine the animated version of Astrid looking. And obviously the interactions between Toothless and Hiccup. You have the scene where Toothless is drawing in the sand. Guys, I don't know. Could this movie be perhaps the biggest encapsulation of corporate greed, you know, in terms of movie making that there ever was? Sure. But is this one of the most exciting movies of the year for me? Absolutely. I love this trailer. I can't wait for the movie. Let me know in the comments down below, guys. Do you have that same nostalgia for me, or do you look at this trailer and you go, oh man, they're just doing a shot-for-shot remake? That's boring. Let me know in the comments down below.